The morning sun cast a golden hue across the tranquil grove of Jetavana, where disciples gathered around the Buddha. Birds chirped melodiously, their songs interwoven with the gentle rustle of leaves swayed by a light breeze. Amid this serenity, a young disciple named Sattva approached. His steps hesitant and eyes downcast, Sattva knelt before the Buddha, his hands folded in respectful salutation. "Blessed One," he began, his voice trembling with uncertainty, "I am overwhelmed by desires and responsibilities. My mind is restless, unable to focus or find peace. I aspire to master the teachings, serve others, meditate deeply, and share your wisdom. Yet, I feel trapped in a storm of tasks, accomplishing none. How do I find clarity and purpose in this chaos?" The Buddha regarded Sattva with a gaze of infinite compassion, his voice calm and reassuring. "Sattva," he said, "your struggle mirrors the plight of many who seek to do too much at once. Let me share a story to illuminate your path." The disciples leaned forward, captivated, as the Buddha began his tale. Once, there was a merchant named Arjuna who lived in a bustling village. His heart was filled with ambition and a desire to excel. He owned jars of different sizes, each intended for specific purposes. One day, Arjuna decided to fetch water from a distant well to fill his jars. At first, the jug felt light, and the disciple smiled, confident in his ability to perform the simple task. Minutes passed, and the weight of the jug began to press upon his arms, straining his muscles. The jars were heavy, and their burden made him stagger. As he walked, the jars began to slip from his grasp. One by one, they fell and shattered upon the rocky path. Arjuna reached the well, his arms empty and spirit broken. He returned to the village with nothing but regret and broken shards. The disciples exchanged glances, reflecting on the tale's profound implications. His presence remains unshaken as I begin to loosen the chains, each thought surrendering to quiet liberation. The world feels lighter, freer, yet still as complex as the endless entanglements of the heart's ceaseless wanderings. The merchant's haste and greed led to his failure. He should have carried only a few jars at a time. The Buddha nodded, a faint smile gracing his lips. "Indeed, Sattva." Buddha nods slightly, the gesture subtle yet profound, as if acknowledging the dawn of understanding within my heart. The moments stretch infinitely as we remain rooted beneath the vast expanse of the boundless sky above us. The key is to prioritize and focus, selecting the jars that truly matter. The disciples murmured in agreement, their expressions a mix of understanding and curiosity. Another day, and life unfolds as it always does, quietly moving towards its unseen destination. The air carries the scent of early blossoms, softly stirring the stillness of a tranquil morning. Buddha emerges from the shadows of an ancient tree, his presence serene, his silence profound. He gazes at the world with a depth that seems to transcend the boundaries of time and space. A soft, rustling sound breaks the calm, and the leaves whisper their secret stories to the wind. Buddha speaks. His voice is neither loud nor forceful, but carries weight like truth itself, unchanging and eternal. "Observe this wheel," he said, holding it up for all to see. The spokes radiate outward from the central hub, each representing a different action or desire. "You wonder why the world seems distant," Buddha continues, his eyes piercing through illusions of worldly existence. His gaze rests upon a single flower, delicate and fleeting, its fragility a mirror to life itself. Life thrives not in endless searching, but in embracing what is here, now, within this very breath we take. A shadow of self-doubt clouds my thoughts as I struggle to understand the simplicity he offers with such clarity. Buddha observes without judgment, his presence steady as the winds shift and the moments pass unceasingly. We create barriers, he says, between ourselves and the universe, thinking we stand apart from it, separate and alone. Begin with introspection, Sattva. Reflect on the actions that bring you peace and clarity. Meditation is a vessel for such reflection, a way to still the chaos within. In stillness, you will hear the voice of your true self, guiding you towards your center. The disciples listened intently, the grove enveloped in a profound silence. Sattva closed his eyes, breathing deeply, as the Buddha's words resonated within his heart. In this stillness, the Buddha continued, "You will distinguish the essential from the trivial, the meaningful from the fleeting. Just as the merchant could have chosen a few jars to carry, so must you select the tasks that resonate with your purpose. Release attachment, the craving that binds us to sorrow and distracts us from clarity. I close my eyes and imagine the cords that tether my being, my identity, my existence to temporary pursuits. His presence remains unshaken as I begin to loosen the chains, each thought surrendering to quiet liberation. The world feels lighter, freer, yet still as complex as the endless entanglements of the heart's ceaseless wanderings. Blessed One, he said, bowing deeply, your words have shown me the way. I will seek my center and act with clarity and purpose. The path becomes clear not through conquest but in gentle surrender, accepting each step as one already traveled. I bow my head as gratitude washes over me, not for receiving answers but for witnessing divine simplicity." Buddha nods slightly, the gesture subtle yet profound, as if acknowledging the dawn of understanding within my heart. The moments stretch infinitely as we remain rooted beneath the vast expanse of the boundless sky. Above us, the morning light bathed the grove in a golden embrace, a testament to the timeless wisdom shared within its sacred bounds. Another day. The sun rose, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink over the serene grove of Jetavana. The disciples gathered early, their robes rustling softly as they settled beneath the shade of the banyan tree. The air was filled with the scent of blooming jasmine, mingling with the freshness of the morning dew. The Buddha arrived, his steps graceful and unhurried, radiating a calm presence that silenced the murmurs of the assembly. Sattva, who had spent days in deep reflection, approached the Buddha with a mixture of eagerness and humility. "Blessed One," Sattva began, bowing deeply, "I have contemplated your teachings and sought to quiet my restless mind. Yet, I feel there is more to understand about finding my center." The Buddha regarded Sattva with a gentle smile, his eyes serene and inviting. "Sattva," he said, "the journey to understanding one's center is like the flowing river. Just as the river carves its path through the land, so must you carve clarity through reflection. Let us explore this truth further." The Buddha gestured towards a wheel resting beside him, its wooden frame sturdy and weathered by time. He held it aloft, its circular form catching the golden sunlight. "This wheel," he began, addressing the gathered disciples, "is a symbol of life and action. Observe its structure, where the spokes radiate outward from the central hub. Without the hub, the wheel cannot turn, and without balance, the spokes cannot function." The disciples leaned forward, their attention captivated by the Buddha's words. "Sattva," the Buddha continued, turning to the young disciple, "tell me, what do you see when you look at this wheel?" Sattva studied the wheel intently, his brow furrowing in concentration. "I see a harmonious structure," he replied, "where the center holds everything together, allowing it to move and fulfill its purpose." The Buddha nodded approvingly, his voice resonating with clarity. "Indeed, Sattva, do the flowers curse their fading beauty, or do they find fulfillment in their cycle of life?" Asha pondered his words, her fingers tracing the lines of her robe as her thoughts swirled like restless winds. "Master," she asked, "does aging then hold a hidden beauty we have failed to see? How does one embrace it?" Buddha nodded, his expression softening with wisdom and empathy. Aging, he said, is not a curse but a blessing, for it brings depth and perspective unknown to youth. The lines on your face are the rivers of experience, carrying the waters of wisdom to those who follow. Blessed One, how do I discover my center amidst the many desires and responsibilities that pull me in different directions? The Buddha placed the wheel gently on the ground and clasped his hands together. A gesture of contemplation. To discover your center, he said, begin by observing the nature of your desires. Reflect on which actions bring you peace and fulfillment. The mind is like a lamp. Its light reveals the path when the flame is steady. Meditate upon your actions, and in stillness, the truth of your purpose will emerge. The disciples listened intently, the rustling leaves creating a soothing backdrop to the Buddha's teachings. The path to clarity is not without its challenges, the Buddha continued, his tone both wise and encouraging. Just as the river encounters rocks and bends, so too will you face obstacles and distractions. The key is to remain steadfast, like the river that flows with determination towards the ocean. Sattva closed his eyes, breathing deeply as he absorbed the Buddha's wisdom. Youth is the blossom, vibrant but fleeting. Age is the fruit, matured by time and rich with substance. In each stage, there is a unique joy if you choose to see it. When you align your actions with your center, your life becomes a melody that resonates with harmony and purpose. Like the wheel that turns smoothly on its hub, so too will your life move forward with ease. Sattva opened his eyes, his expression one of clarity and resolve. Blessed One, he said, bowing deeply, your words have illuminated the path for me. I will meditate and reflect until I discover my center. The Buddha smiled, his approval evident in the warmth of his gaze. Go forth, Sattva, and may your journey be guided by the light of truth and the wisdom within you. The disciples rose as the Buddha concluded his teachings, their hearts and minds filled with renewed purpose. The morning light bathed the grove, a golden testament to the timeless wisdom shared within its sacred bounds. Another day. The morning dew glistened on the grass as sunlight filtered through the trees of the Jetavana grove. Birds sang in harmonious melodies, filling the air with a sense of peace and renewal. The disciples gathered once more, their anticipation evident as they awaited the Buddha's wisdom. Sattva approached the Buddha with a deep bow, his face serene yet eager to deepen his understanding. Blessed One, he began, his voice steady, I have meditated and reflected, and I believe I have found my center. Yet, I seek your guidance to ensure my path aligns with the truth. The Buddha regarded Sattva with a warm smile, his voice gentle yet resonant. Sattva, he said, the discovery of one's center is but the beginning of a journey. To walk the path with clarity, one must understand the interplay between actions and purpose. Let me share a story that illuminates this truth. The disciples leaned in, their attention fixed on the Buddha as he began his tale. There once was a farmer named Raghava who cultivated a small plot of land with diligence and care. His heart was full of ambitions, but he often found himself overwhelmed by the demands of the changing seasons. One spring, he sought to plant every seed he owned, believing abundance would bring him success. The Buddha paused, allowing the disciples to visualize the scene. The day unfolded, the disciples carrying within them the seeds of balance and harmony, planted by the Buddha's teachings. The grove remained a sanctuary of peace, the bamboo leaves whispering the eternal truths imparted that day. His harvest was sparse, leaving him disheartened. The disciples murmured amongst themselves, the story's meaning beginning to take shape. The Buddha continued, his tone imbued with compassion. Raghava visited a wise elder, seeking counsel for his plight. The Buddha, a beacon of compassion and wisdom, remained a steady presence, guiding them toward the ultimate liberation. And as the night deepened, The teachings resonated within them, a symphony of balance and peace echoing through their souls. The gathering dispersed, yet the wisdom remained alive in Anand's heart and those of the disciples. Failure lost its sting, replaced by hope and purpose shaping each new step forward. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video. He should have prioritized the preparation of the soil before planting his seeds. The Buddha nodded, a faint smile playing on his lips. His footsteps were steady yet contemplative, the weight of his questions evident in his thoughtful expression and measured demeanor. The Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree, his presence radiating peace, as disciples gathered to hear his eternal wisdom. When you align your actions with your center, you prepare the soil of your life for meaningful growth. The disciples sat in thoughtful silence, absorbing the Buddha's teaching. Failure is like a cloud passing through the sky, transient and unable to obscure the light of your essence. Buddha continued. Recognize its impermanence and you will transcend its hold, finding clarity amidst moments of uncertainty. Observe this tree, he said, its roots firmly anchored in the soil, drawing sustenance from the earth. The branches, though reaching outward, remain connected to the trunk. The fruits it bears are the result of its balanced growth. Like the tree, your actions must remain connected to your purpose. Nourish your roots, for they sustain the entirety of your being. The disciples turned their gaze to the tree, their expressions a mixture of wonder and understanding. When you act without regard to your purpose, the Buddha continued, your energy scatters like seeds on barren ground. But when your actions align with your center, they bear fruit that nourishes both you and others. Disciples murmured in agreement, the profundity of the metaphor sparking their own reflections and insights. Anand's gaze held steady, as he posed another question. Blessed One, how does one let go of attachments to perfection and embrace the imperfections that define the journey? Buddha's expression softened, his eyes kind and unhurried. Perfection, Buddha replied, is an illusion born of the mind, which strives to control outcomes beyond its grasp. Well said, Sattva. Remember, the path to harmony is a continuous practice of alignment and reflection. Just as the tree adjusts to the changing seasons, so must you adapt your actions to the circumstances of life, always staying true to your center. The disciples bowed their heads in reverence, the weight of the Buddha's words sinking into their hearts. The grove remained silent, save for the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant chirping of birds, as the sun ascended higher into the sky, casting a warm glow over the gathering. Sattva felt a profound sense of clarity and purpose. Blessed One, he said, his voice steady and sincere, your teachings have illuminated my path. I will strive to act with wisdom and intention, ensuring my life revolves around its center. Blessed One, Anand asked, how does one remain steadfast when doubt arises, tempting the heart to retreat from life's uncertainties? Buddha smiled, his gaze steady and nurturing, as he offered a story to illustrate the path forward. Once, a traveler embarked on a long journey, uncertain of his destination but guided by the star's subtle light. Buddha began, in serving your center, you serve the greater harmony of existence. The disciples rose as the Buddha concluded his words, their hearts uplifted and their minds filled with renewed determination. Anand reflected on the tale, its imagery resonating deeply with his journey towards self-mastery and liberation. Buddha's presence seemed to amplify the stillness around him, the tree swaying lightly as if moved by his words. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.